You need to leave now or I'm calling the cops. That's what she yelled, hands on hips, sunglasses glaring, like she owned the place. Thing is, I did. Not just the cabin. Not just the land. The entire county. If you've ever dealt with an entitled person who thought rules didn't apply to them, this story is your justice. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let me take you into the most satisfying revenge I've ever delivered. I was finally spending a peaceful weekend at my late grandfather's lakeside cabin, an old but beautiful place tucked away on the edge of a pine-forested county, untouched by tourists or trouble. That peace shattered the moment she showed up. HOA Karen. Blonde bob. Designer flip-flops. Clipboard in hand like a badge of false authority. She didn't even knock. She marched onto my porch like I was the trespasser. This cabin isn't approved for overnight use, she barked. You're in violation. You need to leave immediately or I'll get law enforcement involved. I stared at her, stunned. This property isn't even in your HOA, I told her calmly. This isn't a subdivision. This is my family's land. But she waved her hand dismissively. Doesn't matter. You're ruining the view for the other residents across the lake. The view. She was serious. My mere presence offended her sense of control. I tried to walk away, but she followed me, snapping photos, shouting about violations. 10 minutes later, like clockwork, sheriff's deputies rolled up. She smirked like she'd just won a prize. The deputy looked at me, then her. I pulled out one document. The deed. Not just for the cabin. Not just the plot. The entire private land the HOA had been illegally encroaching on for years. They didn't own it. I did. The officer's eyes widened. Karen's face? Drained pale. I turned to her and said with a calm smile, "You're trespassing. Now you need to leave." The deputy gave her a choice, walk off peacefully, or be arrested. She left. Red-faced. Quiet for the first time since she arrived. The next week, HOA meetings were in chaos. Turns out, most of their common spaces were on my family's land. Lawsuits followed. Fines. Public apologies. And Karen? She moved out 2 months later. Guess the view wasn't worth the humiliation. Sometimes people think power comes from yelling the loudest. But real power? It's quiet. Patient. And backed by facts. Never underestimate the one who owns the ground you stand on. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button and tell us in the comments